Hey everybody, it's been a while since I've posted an update about Lilly Hilltopper, but I've got a big surprise for you. I've actually included in this update an audiobook, the full copy of Lilly Hilltopper. It's about 95% finished, and while we're waiting on the illustrations and the layout and the printing and then eventually delivering it to your door, I wanted to give you a sneak peek of the whole story. So sit back and relax and enjoy Lilly Hilltopper. Here it is. Once upon a time, in a town very near to you, there lived a little girl named Lilly. On the edge of Lily's town was a hill. The hill was big and soft and green. Lilly liked the hill, and the hill liked Lilly. They were very good friends. Every day, Lilly would visit the hill, and together they'd watch the sun set over her town. Some days they would talk, but most days they would just sit. The sunsets were beautiful. There were oranges so orange that they made you feel all warm inside. The pinks were so pink that they made you want to laugh like a tickle. The yellows were so yellow that they made you smile all the way down to your toes. The blues and purples were so deep that you could hear them singing a low song far, far away. When the first star came out, Lilly knew that it was time to go home. So she said goodbye and goodnight to the hill and walked home through her town, past the shopkeeper in his shop, past the mailman in his post office, past all of her neighbors in all of their houses. Lilly walked home to her mom, who was waiting for her. Her mom always poured her some cold milk, tucked her in a soft bed, told her a short story, and quietly kissed her goodnight. Day after day, Lilly saw the hill. Day after day, they watched the sun set together. But one day, something wonderful happened. As evening fell on her town, Lilly climbed the hill. The sun was just setting as she reached the top. Lilly looked down at her small feet in the soft green grass, and she saw something different. Something beautiful. Something she had never seen before. It was yellow. A bright yellow that seemed to dance with the soft green grass. It stood tall, even though it was the only flower on the hill. The flower was strong and beautiful. Lilly listened closely. She thought she could just hear a small, quiet song as the flower blew in the breeze. Lilly liked it, but she didn't really know what to do. After all, it isn't right to pick flowers that aren't yours. But the longer she watched the flower, the more she felt like it was a gift that was somehow meant for her. So Lilly looked around. She slowly bent down to the ground, and gently, she picked it. She really couldn't say why, but something about the flower made Lilly feel very strong. Lilly held the flower in her hand, and she thought about her mom. She thought about her mom's empty glass above the kitchen sink. Thought Lilly. She thought about how her mom hadn't had any flowers in a long time. The next day, Lilly went to see the hill. She wanted to tell the hill about her mom and the empty glass above her kitchen sink. She wanted to ask the hill why he had given her the flower, and why she felt like smiling inside when she gave it to her mom. The sun was just setting as she reached the top of the hill. The oranges, pinks, yellows, blues, and purples were already in the sky. Lilly looked down at her feet, and what do you think she saw? Thought Lilly with a small smile. She thought of the shopkeeper in his shop. She thought of the mailman at his post office. She thought of all her neighbors in their houses with empty glasses above their kitchen sinks. But something inside of her felt funny, like a nervous butterfly. What if they don't like my flower? What if they laugh at me? What if they think I'm just a silly little girl? Lily thought and thought and thought some more. Suddenly, a warm wind blew from the hill. It smelled like the first blossom on the very first tree. It carried the smell of soft green grass and all the warmth of the sky. Lily closed her eyes and took a deep breath. The wind felt good, and she couldn't say why, but Lily felt safe. So Lily decided to take the second flower to the shopkeeper. The shopkeeper sat behind a wooden desk with only one light. He had old, wrinkly hands and long fingers that held a thin yellow pencil. His shelves were filled with faded books and dusty, rusty old tools. He carefully placed Lily's flower in a perfectly sized glass by his shop window, so customers could see it from the street. He stepped back to look at it, and he smiled. The next day, Lily went to see the mailman. He had a bushy gray mustache and silver glasses that rested on the very edge of his nose. The post office was very busy inside, but it also somehow felt lonely. When it was Lily's turn at the counter, she handed him the flower. His eyes crinkled and wrinkled in the corners as he smiled. He put her flower in an empty pencil cup holder for everyone to see. One by one, Lily visited each of her neighbors, always remembering to knock and be very polite. Even though she lived in a nice neighborhood where people smiled at her, she never knew their names. But when they saw Lily's flower, they introduced themselves, dusted off forgotten glasses, filled them with water, and put the flower above their kitchen sinks. Day after day, Lily went to see the hill. Day after day, she gently picked flowers out of the hill's soft green grass. Night after night, on her way home, Lily visited nearly everyone in her town, until it was very, very, very hard to find an empty glass above anyone's kitchen sink. Some people in her town didn't really like Lily's gift. It just looks like a tired old weed, they said, but there weren't very many people who said that. Most people smiled warm smiles and said, "Thank you." They told Lily that their homes seemed brighter and that they were somehow happier. Lily is a little bit older now. She and the hill are still very good friends. Sometimes they talk together, but most days they just sit. They just watch the sun set behind her town, with yellows so yellow that they make you smile all the way down to your toes, and blues and purples so deep that you can hear them singing a low song far, far away. So what should we say to people for helping to make the book?
Thank you.
Should we?
Yeah.
How should we say thank you?
Thank you. Thank you.
Should we say it really loud?
No.
Can we do it really loud? Here we go. Ready?
No.
1, 2, 3.
Thank you for making it.
Awesome. What should we say next?
I don't know.
Should we
Make
say
it the
bye?
book.
Should we say bye?
Bye.
Bye.
My name is Anna.